I definitely think it's possible to be too negative about video games sometimes. Occasionally, you can go a bit over the top. But Jesus, Bloodlines 2. I don't think I've ever seen such negative reception, and I tried to be kind of objective when I thought about the extended gameplay reveal from just the other day, but maybe I didn't go hard enough, because I'm really struggling to find anyone who is even mildly positive about this piece of crap. Just about everyone has overwhelmingly negative thoughts about this, and I'm struggling to even find the copers now. There used to be plenty of them who would say, oh, just wait and see the gameplay, the Chinese room aren't going to let us down, they're doing the right things, but they've disappeared. Crickets from them. Anyone who's coping is quiet, and it's starting to settle in for people just what a disaster this is going to be. Now, again, I don't want to go over the top. I don't think it looks like the worst game of all time, but trying to justify itself as a sequel to Bloodlines, it really couldn't be doing more to be further from Bloodlines. Many people have said before that the Hardsuit Labs version, there were problems, but you had the original writer. It seemed like they were trying to do some sort of justice to the original. They might have been misguided, they might have had all their internal problems, but they were at least trying. It doesn't seem like the Chinese room even really care, and I have to say, it doesn't seem like the publisher, Paradox, it doesn't seem like they give a shit either. It's just blatantly obvious that it's all about money at the end of the day, where Hardsuit Labs, they screwed up for whatever reason, whatever happened, and then Paradox, the publisher, they were just desperate not to have to refund those pre-orders to people. Bloodlines 2, it's still very high up on the Steam wishlist numbers. Many people have pre-ordered it, most likely, and so Paradox were thinking, all right, how do we cobble something together so we're not illegally taking people's money? We can say, yep, here's Bloodlines 2, we delivered it, yep, thank you for your pre-order money. So they farmed out the development of the game, and this is basically it. Now, to defend the Chinese room just ever so slightly, they have their own publisher, Sumo Digital, and the rumors that have done the rounds for ages, that Sumo were the ones who took this on and basically forced the Chinese room to make it. So they may not even be totally to blame. I don't think you can just excuse them completely. It seems it's obvious there's people there who just don't care about the first Bloodlines. They don't even seem to want it to be anything like it. But I don't think it's as if they went out, they sought out to make a sequel to Bloodlines. It was kind of pushed on them to some extent. So at the end of the day, this is a hack job. It feels like a con job. And I hope it fails. I mean, when this all started, I didn't want that to be the case, because if this does fail, which it probably will, I can't see there ever being any sort of genuine successor to the original Bloodlines. That's not maybe a fan project or something like that. So it is kind of sad, but at the same way, I don't want to see this get rewarded. And the fans, they're being very vocal, which I think is fair enough. And if we look at the trailer on YouTube here, we can see some comments, and I haven't gone searching for these. These are the top comments on the reveal. You've got here, I get the feeling these devs never even played the original Bloodlines, so I wouldn't be surprised. How many times do you see it with, like, the Witcher TV show? Pretty much Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, anything like that. You know that the writers, they take this weird stance where they see it as a sense of pride to say, I don't care about the source material, I haven't even watched the old movies, read the old books, anything like that. I don't care, I'm going to do my own thing. And then it turns out how it turns out. We know how that goes. The next person says, this feels more like a game in the 2010s to bank off of Dishonored's popularity with Fallout 4's bad dialogue choices, rather than the sequel to the cult classic Bloodlines. And I mean, does anyone like Fallout 4's dialogue system? Even if you look at fans of that game, they'll say the base building, I like the open world, the shooting mechanics. No one likes the dialogue system. Even Bethesda don't. They went back on it for Starfield. Not that that helped them in the slightest, but they acknowledged that they failed for once. And then you've got games like this replicating those sorts of systems. What is going on? Oh god, the game is literally cursed. You guys sure you don't want to delay it further and overhaul it completely? These comments have heaps of likes, thousands of likes. No one likes this. And there was the second condensed trailer. It's no better. You know we want a real RPG, don't you? Fallout 4's dialogue system in a vampire game does not fill me with confidence. Willem's voice acting is atrocious, and when I covered the trailer the other day, I don't think I even mentioned the voice acting, but it was laughably bad. The only coping I have ever seen about that is someone saying, oh, it might be placeholder voice acting. Come on, this is it. It's kind of fitting that the voice acting is bad when you compare it to just the state of the game. Once again, the combat, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but just the commitment to make a Bloodlines 2 a sequel to the original. There's no care there. I cannot see any passion. Now, I'm absolutely not trying to curate this at all. It doesn't matter where I go on the internet. Everyone is shitting on this game. This is a totally different forum. This looks absolutely awful. It's honestly depressing that this game is basically everything that Bloodlines 1 wasn't. There's not enough money and talent here. The version 5 stench has also killed the vibe. Now, I don't really play the tabletop game, but it seems pretty common in tabletop RPGs that they've been kind of taken over for, you know, the sort of people I'm talking about, and they've just turned it all into, oh no, you can't have swords and dragons. We need to replace that with rainbow flags. I even think I saw once, it might have been Dungeons and Dragons, that they were introducing into like an orc's castle, like an evil dungeon. They were installing wheelchair ramps because within the world of Dungeons and Dragons, these evil castles had to have accessibility so that the swordsman in a wheelchair could go up the ramp. So there's things like that. I mean, if there's anything that was going to kill immersion, it would probably be something like that. And I imagine Vampire the Masquerade's probably not doing much better in that area. The first Vampire Bloodlines is a cult classic. It will be difficult to infuse fans of the original. Yes, no one's excited. And of course, you've got good old Reddit. Now, this sub dedicated to Vampire Bloodlines, it was kind of 50-50 before. I think with the clan reveals and things like that, there were some people like me who saw them as red flags. And we kind of thought, if they're not willing to show anything, if they're doing 10-second videos, there's no chance that they have anything good. Some people tended to be a little bit more optimistic, and they would say, well, you know, it's just a clan reveal. They're showing the 4 clans from the game. It's not the time to be showing real footage. You need to wait until the extended gameplay reveal to really give an honest take. Well, now everyone is giving an honest take. And even those people, they're not happy now. Their last stand, their, I suppose, last excuse, that's all floated away because there's a million posts like this. This is Paradox trying to milk the IP by doing the bare minimum, and people are doing analyses. They're talking about, say, the Steam wishlist numbers, how it's all about trying to sell, not refund those pre-orders, make a game as quickly as possible, maybe out of the remains of what Hardsuit Labs were doing. It's just about getting this out, justifying the pre-orders, and then moving on, washing their hands of all this. They couldn't give a toss at this point about the Bloodlines name. There's plenty more. There's a poll here about who's going to buy the game and the different options. The top one, the most voted, I'm thinking about this game in a negative way, and the rest of it says, I'm not going to buy the game. So most people are of the opinion that the game looks bad and they're not going to buy it. And that is literally most people. About half that number say, I'm thinking positively I'm going to buy it, but I think these people are beyond coping at this point. It doesn't matter what was shown on their screen. They were just simply going to buy it. Maybe because they don't even care about Bloodlines. They just want a Vampire the Masquerade game. And I would say that if anyone is positive, it is purely those people. They don't care about Bloodlines. They're just already invested in the Masquerade universe and just want a video game out of that. There's other games like Swan Song, who I think a lot of Bloodlines fans, they wouldn't really care about that game. They probably wouldn't go near it. But that game still has fans. People who'd probably just play anything with the Masquerade name on it. Whereas Bloodlines itself, it has a whole community of CRPG fans. That's the main driver. It's the main reason they were looking forward to the second game. They wanted something similar to original. They've been totally screwed over. They've been sold down the river, and it was all in the name of just trying to get more eyeballs on a Vampire the Masquerade product that would probably normally be more niche. Just having the Bloodlines name attached is what generated this interest, and it's clear they don't give a toss. And we've got another RPG fan site here. Looks like good old franchise raping on the level of Fallout 3. Thief 2014. Gee, that was a stinker as well. The Thief games were classics. That one wasn't so good. At least that developer also made, say, Deus Ex Human Revolution. That was a pretty decent follow-up to, say, the original Deus Exes. So they at least were redeeming themselves there, but 2014 wasn't so good. I'm not even joking or trying to be hyperbolically negative here. To me, this genuinely looks worse than what Hardsuit Labs showed years ago. This has been coming up for ages. People are nostalgic about what they saw from Hardsuit Labs, and it's understandable. I've always said that I don't think there was actually a game there. It looked okay at best in some of the trailers, definitely better than what the Chinese room have shown, but I bet you if you actually tried to play it, it would have been a total clusterfuck. I don't think there was really a game there, even if on the surface you might have seen some things that you liked. Now, this post is probably the most important one I'm going to show you, and it's by Wesp5. Now, if you've played Bloodlines in the last 5-10 years and you felt like you had a relatively smooth experience, this is probably the person you should be thanking. This guy, he has spent something like 20 years just about fixing up the game. As some people might know, Bloodlines, when it released, it was in a really bad state. It was rushed out the door by Activision, the publisher. Troika, the developer, they basically closed around the time that it did release it, and they just weren't really given the time to finish the game at all, let alone polish it. So the game is in a horrible state, despite the content, what you find inside being really rich. But Wesp5, because he knew there was such a gem hidden inside there, he spent all his time trying to fix it. He's incredible for the video games community, the RPG community. And this person, this is probably more credibility than anyone to comment on this game. He knows Bloodlines better than anyone. Someone asked him, hey, are you going to fix this game too? And he says, only if I really like it, and this video didn't help with that. And he's probably trying to be nice, but it's clear even the biggest fan of the first Bloodlines isn't having it, doesn't like it. So anyone who tries to say, oh no, it's the toxic online gamers, they're a quiet minority, don't listen to them. Are you going to not listen to the person who basically made Bloodlines 1 playable, who made you a fan probably of the original? Come on, there's no one with more credibility. I will say this as well, there have been plenty of people optimistic about this game, and I think this was the turning point. They saw the extended gameplay, they realized this is not what they were hoping for. I don't think if you were negative about it before, which I definitely was, I don't think it's a situation where anyone wants to be like, I told you so, I knew it was going to be bad, and now I'm going to tell you all about it. I think it's sad for everyone. I would have liked that they surprised us, that our skepticism of like the 10-second reveals was wrong. I don't really care about that because everyone loses with this. If it fails, which it is going to, let's be real, then Bloodlines is basically dead. Are we going to get any other vampire RPGs of this nature, a spiritual successor from someone else? Maybe not, because a lot of that interest is kind of going to be dead. So I don't like to see these games fail, but I think it's important to give attention to it, because games like Starfield, they come out, people look forward to them, and it totally hurts the RPG genre as a whole. It's sad. These bait and switches, they just mean that more developers, more publishers are going to be less likely to greenlight these sorts of projects because they flop, and the suits, the people with the money, they're not going to get into the nuance of, oh no, but the only reason it failed is because it wasn't like Bloodlines 1. No, they're just going to look at the bottom line, they're going to look at reviews, things like that, and they're just going to see, alright, no one wants games like Bloodlines. They don't want these sorts of CRPGs. Now, of course, Baldur's Gate 3 obviously disproves a lot of that. But a lot of executives, they like to see single-player role-playing games fail because it means they can justify the whole narrative of, no, gamers only want multiplayer. That's where the success is. That's all that matters. So I hate Paradox. They're greedy, they're scummy, they're the main reason this has happened. Even if the Chinese room are incompetent, many of the people there, some of them might be bad actors, they don't really care about making a spiritual game successor to Bloodlines 1. That may be the case, but at the end of the day, I blame Paradox. Everyone is simply calling this out for what it is now. It feels like a big con. This is not a sequel to Bloodlines. It's not even trying. It's not that they attempted to make a proper sequel and they've just failed. They don't give a toss. No one involved seems to. The devs, the publisher, everyone involved, it all basically stinks. And the sad thing is, it's just going to sort of wither away. It's lost any sort of hype or interest, I think. I think any future videos that the devs reveal, unless there is some sort of fundamental shift, something we just didn't know about, I reckon most people aren't even going to be interested in tuning in to, like, the next trailer. They've been talking about doing clan combat trailers and things like that next. Who cares? This isn't for us. This isn't for fans of Bloodlines anymore. They've showed their true colours. So I don't even know. Am I going to look at anything to do with it going forward? We'll have to see, but I'm certainly not feeling it, even for comedic reasons. That ship feels like it's sailed, so who knows? I'm sure there'll be plenty of other things to laugh at in this industry, but thanks so much for listening. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.